Okay, so for the last of these series of graphing videos, at least for the moment, we're going to compare the short-run monopolistic competition to the long-run monopolistic competition. So I did the loss graph on the last one. So remember, monopolistic competition has a relatively elastic demand curve, and you can always tell relatively elastic if it looks like Tony Hawk could be skateboarding. All right, so this is our relatively elastic demand, marginal revenue tucked slightly underneath. Here's where MR equals MC. Here's our price. Here's where average total cost gets intersected. See the other video, and it's done in the same way as Monopoly. Here's our region of profit, okay? And we would have this tiny triangle. This is allocatively efficient quantity here. So this tiny chief triangle here that looks like a nose or a bird's beak is the deadweight loss, okay? All right, and what's gonna happen is, well, people, this is America, it's called the invisible hand. If there's money to be made, like bees to honey, people are gonna come into an industry and be like, hey, there's a lot of money to be made in delivering food. There's a lot of money to be made in driving services or cafes or in making churros or something, okay? Or in food trucks. And if that's discovered, guess what happens? There's people join the industry, the supply of vendors increases, and that brings the price down. And it's gonna be brought down until we get to a break-even point or long-run equilibrium, just like in perfect competition, okay? And we're gonna have price equal to average total cost. So what's complicated about this is that we're gonna have a tangent situation, and the average total cost must be tangent at the demand curve exactly at the quantity of max profit for this to take place. So here, price equals average total cost. I just made it 19 because it's a little lower than the price over there. So I got my price equals average total cost, which equals 19. And we have this tangent taking place. If you don't know what a tangent is, I'm sure most of you do, it's when a line intersects with a curve at exactly one point, okay? So maybe think about, skipping a stone kind of thing, okay? And we're gonna have no profit or loss. The total revenue and total cost both equal $1,900, okay? And then you just need to be able to identify that this is a long-run equilibrium graph. Okay, and a little AP story here. I went to an AP economics workshop, and they told us specifically that they were never going to ask students to draw the long-run equilibrium graph for perfect competition again because it was too difficult. And almost none of the students got it correct. So all of us, we're high-fiving each other, like elbow bump, fist bump, every kind of bump. And you know what happened? 2 years later, they asked for this graph again, and nobody knew how to do it, and everybody got it wrong. Okay, so just telling you how AP operates, okay? If there is an impossible situation to be asked, that's what they're gonna do. All right, don't forget we've still got deadweight loss here, so it's still a very inefficient market. Here's our allocatively efficient quantity right here, where MC hits the demand curve. And there's still productive efficiency, where MC hits the ATC curve. In general, that always has to be pretty close to the allocatively efficient curve here. And then here's our deadweight loss, okay? Now, productive efficiency comes into place on this long-run graph because for whatever reason, AP wants us to focus on the distance between the quantity of max profit and productive efficiency quantity, okay? And that is called excess capacity. And that is essentially wasted space, time, materials that can't be used. So think in a restaurant from 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the tables aren't being used, right? That's lost time. right? That's excess capacity, and that's normal. There's excess capacity in monopolies too, but for whatever reason, AP focuses on the excess capacity here. So this is productive efficiency, has its first and only really important role in determining how much excess capacity there is. So here's from max profit to here, the excess capacity is 80 units. All right, and excess capacity's official definition is unused capital equipment and plant space. And that is a big part of this long run graph. I think they felt sorry for the monopolistic competition graph, like, hey, there's nothing really going on here, so they decided to make excess capacity. So again, think like, you know, a shift where workers aren't working, okay? Or if you're waiting for materials or something like that, okay? You know, in an ideal situation, you're using all your time perfectly efficiently, and that's not possible. So a restaurant, a pizza place, you know, they're not gonna be making pizzas at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? You have downtime, that's normal. You know, the dry cleaners, you know, they can only do so much during the day and have so many customers during the day. Okay, so here is your short run versus long run equilibrium. And that is it for me tonight. Please say a prayer for everybody that's on Kairos and for everybody in BFG. And you know, I know this has not been the easiest quarter. I hope these videos are helpful. And you know, it's just been a great year with you guys, especially always the seniors hold a special place in my heart. Especially since I taught a lot of the juniors last year, and you know, unfortunately I'm not getting to see the sports and activities, but let's hope that that starts to pick up soon. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.